Alice directly from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. And you know what's bullshit? When in spite of not having committed an impeachable offense, a president who was democratically elected by 54 million people is ousted by politicians who have themselves been accused or charged with corruption or other serious crimes. I'm talking about everything from embezzlement and fraud to kidnapping and murder. Surreal, right? Well, not in Brazil, where former House Speaker Eduardo Cunha initiated an official impeachment process against Dilma Rousseff, while at the same time being charged with corruption, bribery, and stacking money in offshore accounts. And Senator Dario Berger, who has 28 cases against him involving some type of corruption, and when talking about impeaching President Dilma, said, and I quote, "Nobody is above the law." That is some bullshit right there. Now, if you think that the US Congress is screwed up, then my friends, welcome to Brazil, where hypocrisy is the name of the game. And it's never been more apparent than right now with the impeachment of President Dilma Rousseff. Something President Obama and Hillary Clinton have been remarkably silent about. But not US Senator Bernie Sanders, who strongly denounced Dilma's impeachment as an undemocratic attempt for a far right-wing agenda to be imposed on Brazilian citizens, adding, and I quote, that the United States cannot sit silently while the democratic institutions of one of our most important allies are undermined. So what exactly is going on behind the headlines? What was the motivation behind Dilma's impeachment? Was it really about just tampering with the budget, as her prosecutors alleged? Which is a fact that many have questioned, considering that a whole 2 days after the impeachment, the Senate voted on a law to legalize the very type of creative accounting that they ousted President Dilma for. Or is it what many democracy activists are calling it, a coup, or in Portuguese, golpe? Here's what's going down.
Are you listening? Damn.
Dilma, as she is commonly known in Brazil, narrowly won re-election just 2 years ago and was recently removed from office on charges that she violated budget laws, which she denies.
Acabam de derrubar a primeira mulher eleita presidenta do Brasil, sem que haja qualquer justificativa constitucional para este impeachment.
But her own Workers' Party, or PT, as they are known here in Brazil, are involved in Operation Car Wash, which is the largest corruption scandal in Brazilian history. It's also responsible for the current economic crisis in the country. Dilma herself, however, was never implicated in the scandal, and a federal prosecutor assigned to her case concluded that she didn't even commit a crime. So unlike other top members of her party, she isn't under investigation and hasn't been charged. Dilma actually remains one of the few politicians in Brazil who has not enriched themselves and accepted bribes, which in this country is a rare breed. Yet nonetheless, she is a really unpopular leader and is widely blamed for the country's economic woes. But let's face it, if being incompetent or unpopular were a crime, then Brazil probably wouldn't have any politicians left, which, come to think of it, maybe wouldn't be such a bad thing, considering that democracy activists have said that the impeachment is merely a political ploy. It was a means to remove President Dilma from office to divert attention from Congress's own corruption, to obstruct and ultimately stop the ongoing car wash investigation, something Dilma has refused to do, but that her successor would most likely quietly kill.
A key figure in Brazil's interim government has resigned after explosive new transcripts revealed how he plotted to oust President Dilma Rousseff in order to end a corruption investigation that was targeting him. The transcripts published by Brazil's largest newspaper, Folha de Sao Paulo, document a conversation in March, just weeks before Brazil's lower house voted in favor of impeaching President Rousseff. In the conversation, the men agree that ousting President Rousseff would be the only way to end the corruption probe against them. In the transcript, Jucá says, "We have to change the government so the bleeding is stopped." Machado then reportedly said the easiest solution is to put Michel in, a reference to Vice President Michel Temer, who took power once Rousseff was suspended.
For many people here in Brazil, the ousting of Dilma is fundamentally about a right-wing movement's bid to claim political power.
As elites querem congelamento dos gastos públicos com saúde e educação. Então, também o governo interino de Michel Temer sinalizou que vai garantir esse congelamento por 20 anos de investimentos públicos em saúde e educação.
Now, removing Dilma gives them a way to take a helm of the presidency and impose an agenda of privatization and austerity that people never even voted for. In other words, this impeachment allows politicians to do something they weren't able to do democratically, which is exactly why so many people are calling it a coup. And so far, Michel Temer has really delivered by installing a cabinet that white supremacists would really be proud of. All white men who have already eliminated departments that protect women, that protect human rights, that protect people of color. Like many Brazilians that are against the impeachment, I'm not a supporter of Dilma Rousseff or even of Lula, her mentor and former president, who many are saying will run for office again. But what I am in favor of is democracy. So why don't we just let the people decide? What about demanding early elections like the ousted President Dilma Rousseff called for and having a new democratically elected president? What about demanding a law that would force congressmen charged with corruption and wrongdoing to be suspended without payment until found not guilty? Wouldn't that be a good start? But with the country's ongoing political turmoil, with its economic woes, with a highly corrupt Congress, and now a corrupt vice president that is president, the question remains, what's next for Brazil? Thanks so much for watching. If you like this video, share it with your friends. Subscribe on YouTube to my channel, like the page on Facebook, follow me on Twitter, and I'll see you next time. Mwah. Beijo. Ciao.